West Bank under siege as settler attacks soar. Over 1,000 incidents and 178 Palestinian deaths in 2025 alone. Homes burned, olive trees destroyed, families displaced. Settler population rises to 750,000 and political backing fuels expansion. Amid the Gaza ceasefire, daily life remains under threat, and a decade of escalating violence reshapes land, lives and hope. While global attention has focused on the Gaza ceasefire, a quiet crisis is escalating as Israeli settlers continue daily assaults across the occupied West Bank. Since October 2023, Palestinian communities have faced near-daily raids, property destruction and violence, often backed by soldiers. On a single night in Bardala, northern Jordan Valley, settlers uprooted 150 olive trees, destroying the livelihood of several families. Earlier, Palestinian farmers in Beit Fajar were attacked with stones, dogs, and fire set to vehicles. The rise in attacks is stark, UNOCHA data shows. Looking at settler attacks in the West Bank year by year, the trend shows a steady rise in violence. In 2016, there were 720 recorded attacks. This increased to 810 in 2017 and 900 in 2018. In 2019, attacks climbed to 950, followed by 980 in 2020. By 2021, incidents reached 1,020, before dropping slightly to 852 in 2022. Numbers surged again to 1,291 in 2023 and 1,449 in 2024. In 2025, with data from just the first 8 months, over 1,000 attacks have already been documented, indicating that this year may surpass previous records. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, or OCHA, says settlers regularly seize land, burn property, and destroy crops to intimidate local communities and expand settlements. The violence is concentrated in Area C, the zone fully under Israeli control. Ramallah and El Bireh governorates recorded the highest incidents with 634 attacks, followed by Nablus at 501 and Hebron at 462.
Every year we fear the olive harvest. Settlers come with guns and soldiers stand by. Our land is our life. They are taking it piece by piece.
The attacks are not random. They are part of a pattern of intimidation and land seizure, designed to expand settlements while displacing Palestinians. As violence rises, settlements grow. Israeli settlements are Jewish-only communities established on Palestinian land captured in 1967. Between 600,000 and 750,000 settlers now live in more than 250 settlements across the West Bank and East Jerusalem. The data shows a consistent year-on-year increase in both settlers and the land they occupy. The expansion of Israeli settlements across the West Bank over the past decade reveals a steady rise in both population and land occupied. In 2015, the settler population stood at 570,000, occupying roughly 1,500 square kilometres. By 2016, the population increased to 580,000, with settlements spreading over 1,530 square kilometres. In 2017, the numbers rose to 590,000 settlers occupying 1,560 square kilometres. The growth continued in 2018, reaching 600,000 settlers and 1,590 square kilometres of land. In 2019, the population climbed to 610,000, while settlements extended over 1,620 square kilometres. By 2020, 620,000 settlers lived on 1,650 square kilometres of occupied land. The trend persisted in 2021 with 630,000 settlers and 1,680 square kilometres. In 2022, the population reached 640,000, spreading across 1,710 square kilometres. By 2023, 650,000 settlers occupied 1,740 square kilometres, and in 2024, a significant jump brought the population to 700,000 and land coverage to 1,780 square kilometres. Early data for 2025 indicates the settler population has now risen to 750,000, occupying approximately 1,820 square kilometres of the West Bank. This year-by-year growth underscores the persistent expansion of settlements, steadily encroaching on Palestinian land and reshaping the demographic and geographic landscape of the region. The Israeli government backs the settlers.
Without settlement, there can be no lasting security. Only a Jewish presence guarantees that rockets will not return to Sderot in the south.
The expansion of settlements is directly correlated with rising violence. As settlers occupy more land, Palestinian villages face increased attacks, crop destruction, and forced displacement. The impact on Palestinians is devastating. Since October 7, 2023, more than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed and nearly 10,000 injured in the West Bank due to military and settler violence. In 2025 alone, at least 178 deaths have been documented by OCHA, including farmers, children, and residents caught in raids. Displacement is widespread. More than 400 Palestinians have been forced from their homes since the Gaza war began. Entire villages are being pressured, their lands seized to expand settlements. Analysts say that the violence and land seizures are systematic. It is a campaign to erase our presence and push us out. Settlement growth, combined with these attacks, creates a climate of fear. Families avoid tending their land, children face restricted movement, and communities are forced into precarious survival. The political landscape in Israel further fuels the issue. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich recently called for renewed Jewish settlement in Gaza, arguing it is essential for long-term security. He said,
"Out of the immense joy of the return of hostages, I say again, there will be no Hamas in Gaza. And yes, this too must be said. There will be Jewish settlement in Gaza."
Critics argue that agreements with Hamas, including ceasefire deals, lack enforcement of disarmament, Israeli security control, and Hamas leadership departures. National missions? Minister Orit Strock labelled the recent deal Oslo III, claiming it cedes land and transfers security to foreign oversight. Analysts warn that even if fighting halts, Israel may retain control over parts of southern and central Gaza, allowing right-wing ministers to continue pursuing settlements and military presence. For Palestinians in the West Bank, the combination of rising settler attacks, expanding settlements, and political endorsement signals that daily life remains under constant threat. The future of the West Bank will be shaped not only by ceasefire agreements, but by whether international actors hold Israel accountable for ongoing violence and land seizures. A decade of escalation in the West Bank paints a stark picture. The settler population has grown from 570,000 in 2015 to 750,000 in 2025, a 32% increase. Over the same period, the land occupied by settlements expanded from 1,500 to 1,820 square kilometres, up 21%. Violence has surged alongside expansion. Recorded settler attacks rose from 720 in 2015 to over 1,000 in just the first 8 months of 2025, a 39% increase. Tragically, Palestinian deaths more than doubled, climbing from 80 in 2015 to 178 by August 2025, marking a 122% rise. These figures underscore a decade of rising tension, territorial growth, and mounting human cost in the occupied West Bank. This combination of statistics and personal accounts paints a stark picture. The West Bank is witnessing an unprecedented surge in settler violence, land seizure, and systemic displacement, a reality that continues to reshape Palestinian lives while global focus often remains elsewhere.